Well, employees may soon be facing kind of an important choice. Either get your butt back to work full time in the office or look for a new job. That's according to the People at Work 2022. It's a global workforce view. It's a report from ADP Research Institute. Nearly two-thirds of the people that responded, about 64%, said they have already or would consider looking for a new job if their employer forced them to return to the office full time. Spencer O'Leary, he's the CEO of Active Ops North America, an expert on managing remote employees. To talk about these surveys, over 50% of workers would take a pay cut to work from home. Mr. O'Leary, thank you for being with me. I appreciate it.
Hi, Rick. Good afternoon.
Got to ask you, why? The pandemic's all but gone. Employers are in a position where they're trying to give more perks. At least that's how it seems. Why do people want to stay home and work?
Well, I think, Rick, people have got used to working from home. You know, it doesn't take that long to form a habit. And people have been working from home now for the last, 24 months, 2 years. And they've got used to the flexibility, the freedom, and the reduction in costs. No commute time, no commute cost. They can start to mix some social things in with their normal working day, looking after pets, children, older people. And most people believe they're as productive, some of them more productive, if they work from home. So why not?
As I got down into this and did some digging, it looks, and correct me if I'm wrong, younger workers, people maybe just entering the workforce or they've been in the workforce for a few years, they seem to be the least interested in returning to the office full time. Is that the case, number one? And number two, why is it the younger workers?
Yeah, and the data I'm looking at suggests there's probably two ends of the working age spectrum. That's the younger workers, for sure, but also the older workers. And it seems to be that sort of mid-age range, top 30s, 40s, early 50s that are thinking about coming back to the office and driving their career. You'll see other data points that are saying things like productivity probably were better during the pandemic when people could work from home when there was less distraction. But let's not forget some of the other key things that we do as humans when we come together. Things like creativity, ideas generation, even employee well-being. They're all driven by us as social animals getting together. So what we're starting to see from some of the more creative employers now out in their market, they're using this idea of not necessarily homework full-time, but hybrid work, letting people work from home some of the time, bringing them into the office some of the time. They're using that as a real perk of the job, and that's starting to retain and certainly attract good talent because people want this flexibility.
I know that while many younger workers say they don't want to return to the office full time, some of the experts have weighed in, arguing that they're losing out on a lot by not what they call growing their career in an office setting. I think last year, maybe year before, J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon said working remotely does not work for young people or those who want to hustle. What exactly does? I mean, there's some jobs where you can't work from home. You have to physically be where the work is performed. But what did he mean, or what did she mean by that?
Yeah, and I think there's always a difference between didn't in the past and doesn't now. So I agree with some of those things. Most younger people that are maybe now in their 30s, they did drive their career by being in the office every day. But for most, that's just a thing of the past. And there'll be new ways. We didn't think, sat in 2019, that most businesses, large and small, would enable their workforce to productively work from home. And, in early 2020 and for 2 years, we've kind of proved that theory was wrong. So I think people will start to drive their careers, and they'll be able to do that whether they work remotely or not. But what I would impress on people and any employers out there listening today is there are definitely advantages from having a workforce who can work from home, but there's some really big disadvantages as well. So most employers that I'm seeing that are really going to retain and attract good talent, they're adopting this idea of whether it's called hybrid work, or work from anywhere, but it's this idea that people can work from home a few days a week and be productive, get their output done, and they can come together in the office, they can build their careers, they can share ideas, create some innovation, and hopefully improve their careers as they grow. So those businesses that adopt that, they're going to retain and find good talent. And for those businesses who demand that their employees come downtown 5 days a week, I think they'll find their employees will vote with their feet and go work for someone who can.
Let me ask you, all the data that you go through, and I would assume being the CEO of Active Ops in North America, you've got plenty. Overall, are employees more productive in the office full-time or at home full-time?
So good question, but your question sort of picks one element of performance. So productivity is only one thing that needs to be measured, managed, and improved. I think performance overall is driven by a balance between production and employees' well-being. That means they're going to produce the right quality of output in the right time frame. So organizations that have only focused on production, how much work I create, they're focusing on one thing about good performance. Those employees who've measured productivity and employee well-being, and a couple of other measures that go around that, really do have that much more balanced set of data. That's what we do at Active Ops. We help people capture that data about their workforce, whether they work from home or work from the office. And what we've seen through the pandemic is, to answer your question, productivity, how much output I create in the time available, has gone up through the pandemic. People have less distraction, they focus on their work, and they just get it done. However, there's other measures that are important in performance. Well-being, if we have poor well-being, we have workplace stress, it starts to drive sickness, it starts to drive attrition, and then we've got a real problem in our workforce. So I'd encourage anyone out there listening today, make sure your performance measures are balanced, production and well-being. Get the two things right, you'll have a great workforce.
Yeah, I know one of my personal pet peeves, and I've been in the workforce a long time, I just absolutely despise workplace drama, workplace politics. And of course, in my business, I've worked remotely, well, since it became available in many cases, not all the times, but you're able to focus more on the topics, the guest, the interview, and so on. But that's not true for everybody, and I realize that. So if I'm to understand what you're saying, you believe what we're going to see in the future for many companies is the hybrid you talked about. Is that correct?
Yeah, and there's different names to describe what that means. But in practice, what it means is an office real estate environment that enables people to come together, share ideas, be innovative, and they do that a couple of days a week or a couple of days every other week. But the businesses set themselves up. They can have the data and the measures of monitoring what people do, whether from the home or the office, so that people can also work from home. So that sort of work from home, work from office, move between the two. I'm seeing some large and small businesses in the US who are really starting to embrace that as a working practice. And they're the ones that I see are standing out from the crowd. They're the ones that are retaining the talent they've got. They're attracting new talent without having to pay a huge premium for it. And they're some of the businesses that are going to be really leading the future as we go into 22, 23.
Final thing, and I appreciate you carving out some time for us here. Over half, 52%, I believe it was, in this one survey, said they would consider taking a pay cut if it meant they could ensure more flexibility, or the hybrid you've been talking about, in the office 2 days a week, at home 3 days a week, or whatever combination you're talking about. That surprises me, because a lot of people, after the lockdowns and with inflation and fuel cost and all the other things, it must be very important to them if they're willing to take a pay cut to stay home.
It is, and I think probably two, if not more, reasons it's important. One is purely financial. People have realized that they don't need maybe two cars in the family now if they don't have to both travel to work every day. They haven't got the gas prices to sit in traffic. They haven't got children care, animal care, older people care. They haven't got to buy the same clothes they did when they went downtown every day. They're not buying an expensive coffee and an expensive lunch. They're eating at home. So there's a real financial reason that people have seen from working from home. But I think the second reason, and complementing that, is people who've decided that time has value. And when I used to work 7 hours a day and I spent another 2 or 3 commuting, I'm now working maybe more time. I'm maybe working 8 hours a day, but I still save that 2 or 3 hours a day when I'm not having to sat in a car or sat on a train and having to commute. So I think real saving of dollars, and also translating time into dollars. People feel they're a lot better off when they're working from home, and they just don't want to go back to that 5 days a week traveling downtown.
Spencer O'Leary, CEO of Active Ops North America. If people want to get more information about what you do, about the hybrid work week, or any of this information, how do they go about doing it?
So have a look at our website, activeops.com. It'll tell you how we're helping businesses right across North America adopt and embrace this hybrid work approach. It doesn't have to be a good thing for the employee and a bad thing for the employer. We can show you how to get the best and really lead your 22-23 strategy, embrace it, deliver it, and you'll have employees who can work productively with good well-being, and they don't need to come to the office 5 days a week.
All right, Spencer O'Leary, I appreciate it very much.